Black Swan.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Thank you.
Loved it.
Thank you so much.
So I have to say, I will admit that I'm very predisposed to loving your movies. Okay, I love the way you make films, the way your point of view, and all that stuff. So, being a fan aside, this movie, the fact that you tackled it's that you took something like, the Swan Lake, which is the most, it's like a fable. We've all heard about it. We all know about it. You're like, oh, you hear the music, and whether you were a dancer or not, you know what that belongs to. Sure. It's like in kids' TV shows, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And you create this thriller. Yeah. Because it really is almost a thriller. Yeah. You are on the edge of your seat, what's happening in this kind of macabre way. Yeah. Where did that come from for you?
Well, I was interested in ballet because my sister was a dancer when I was a kid, and she got very serious about it, and I never knew what it was, but when I started to make films, I thought, hey, that would be a very unique, interesting world to sort of explore. And
did she go all the way through, or
she went all the way through? She went to the School of Performing Arts, the Fame School. Yeah. So she got pretty serious, but then now she doesn't do it anymore. She produces now, but she was very serious, and it was like her life, and
with the toe shoot, like
everything, all that stuff. So I always wondered what it was all about, and I was thinking about doing something with Dostoevsky's The Double, which is a little book about a guy who wakes up and his double's following him around and taking over his life, and I thought there's something scary about being replaced by basically losing yourself. I thought that would be an interesting, kind of scary concept to start with, is you wake up one day and you don't know who you are anymore, which happens to people because lives change and things happen, circumstances happen, and it's very scary for people. So I like that as a good engine. And then I went to see Swan Lake and the ballet, and I didn't know much about it except that there were some girls in tutus, and then I saw that there was one dancer dancing the Black Swan and the White Swan. It was one dancer doing two parts, and one was virginal and scared, and one was sexy and predatory, and I thought, wow, two great characters, and it just sort of all clicked. It was a big eureka moment, and so then I started to kind of push it together to make something out of it.
And do you work with, I know there's 3 people credited for the screenplay and stuff, so when you have this idea to do this and just split these 2 characters, make one, do you work with your screenwriters in that?
Yeah, it was a very long process. Ultimately, Mark Heyman, who did the last draft, is really responsible for capturing the Swan Lake myth and turning it into something. We spend hours upon hours. All the films, even though I haven't written The Wrestler or Black Swan, it feels like if I'm going to make a movie, I got to get pretty deep in there and almost be, in the same head as the writer. So I go through everything and detail by detail. It's hard now to, find the time to actually sit there with a blank page. Mm-hmm. I kind of like more the collaboration and hanging out with people and putting a team together and executing.
Mm-hmm. And it's kind of a companion. I don't know if this is a stretch to say it, but in my mind, it is in a way a companion piece to The Wrestler. Yeah. Because you have it's 2 physical actors. Yeah. It's the athleticism that Natalie does in this movie is extraordinary. Yeah. Like Mickey did in The Wrestler and whatnot. Were you thinking of kind of doing the exact opposite? And because Mickey's all Hulk and muscle, and Natalie's petite and bone and
Well, I saw the contrasts and the similarities. They didn't get past us. One is the highest art, and one is the lowest art, if you want to even call it an art. Right. Most people wouldn't.
Generous, but that's okay.
But and seeing that they're both with performers that do incredible damage to their bodies to entertain, and the extreme levels you go to perform was very interesting. So. I look forward to when they're a double feature at the New Beverly in LA. That for me, I'll be like
dollar seats.
Yeah, dollar seats. But like at an art theater, it'd be great if they eventually play together.
Now, in this, for Natalie, the casting obviously is crucial in this film because you have to the way Winona playing the aging ballerina, stroke of genius there in terms of looking at Winona and also looking her next to Natalie. There are weird similarities going on there, and then with Mila Kunis as well. How important is it for you when you're casting something like this?
Well, I mean, it's everything. I mean, casting is if you cast right, so much of your job is done. If the script's in good shape and then you cast right, you can sort of just, well, you can't really just hang out, but it's cruise control is a possibility at many moments. So, I really love the idea of Winona for it. I mean, I've been a big fan of hers for a long time, and
Well, she's like our generation.
Yeah.
She came up
I was blessed
Yeah.
that she agreed to do such a small role, and she really likes the film. She sent me a really beautiful email, and she's just excited to be part of it. She's like, I'm so excited to be part of this, artistic movie that's going to live the years. And I'm thinking, well, she's done Beetlejuice and Age of Innocence and Heathers. I mean, she's been in a lot of iconic films,
Lucas,
for us.
her
And
first,
Lucas,
come
that was a
on.
great one.
Yeah.
So she was great, and I needed someone who had a face that kind of immediately was recognizable. That you go, oh, okay, I know who that is. So that, and also she was such a big star at one point, and now I think she has a second chapter in her that we're all going to start to see soon.
Now, are you the Natalie is the character, obviously plays Nina, product of Barbara Hershey. Just a shout out. She was brilliant. Just fantastic part for her, as her kind of encouraging but yet also slightly demonic mother.
Yeah.
Are you, as a director and in your life, as much as a perfectionist as the Nina character was? Do you find yourself sometimes
I think I may
going
have
to the brink of insanity?
I think I was more in that way when I was younger, and I think the fact that a lot of these projects they take a long time to get made. But I think fatherhood's definitely changed me, and
the cliche is true.
Relax me.
Yeah,
I think it has. And I think there's just a lot of things going on in life now, and I think I worked really hard on this film, but I was able to balance it with a normal life, and so that worked out okay.
Mm-hmm. And do you think how has the film been received?
It's been great. It's been a good journey. You never know what you got. When you're in the edit room, you hope, and then you start to see patterns. And I'm excited that there's kind of a lot of curiosity and a lot of there's a decent amount of controversy of does it go too extreme or not.
Right,
but if you're gonna go extreme, it's good if you go too extreme.
I have to tell you, watching, I really want to see it again because I saw it at 9 a.m. I just gotten off a plane, and as you would in festivals. So I'm really anxious to see it again. But I have to say, going through it, I had no idea what was happening. I had no idea what was going to happen up until the very, very last second of the frame. I was like, it ended. I was like, like I couldn't anticipate that was going to be the ending. And also, I was like, Darren, like as I'm watching it, I'm like, what's real? What's part of her? I also got, you know.
I mean, I like going on.
It was great. It was manipulative and exciting, and it was scary at the same time. And yet you're like, oh, it's ballet.
Yeah.
So, I know this. It's comforting. And it's like, no, you don't. Like, did you actually shoot in the ABT, or where were you?
No, we shot in Lincoln Center a bit, but we shot up at SUNY Purchase, has this huge stage that actually happens to look a lot like the State Theater, in Lincoln Center. So, and the catacombs. I mean, the thing that's amazing about when you go backstage in Lincoln Center is where these people work out and then where they go to class. It's really gnarly cinder block, and so we were just very truthful to that. And people think it's all stylized, but it's not. It's just it's actually a pretty grim. If anything, we made it look a little bit more beautiful and sleek than it actually is. Yeah,
well, the cinematography was great.
Maddie did a great job.
How was it to work with Natalie? How did you find that experience?
She was great. She's just she's a hardcore professional, very responsible, very intelligent, very and just willing to try anything, even though the work is so hard, she didn't really show me how hard it was for her. She really just kind of took care of herself, and like Ellen Burstyn, who could turn it off in some of those intense scenes. As soon as I call cut, it would be like Ellen, and she'd be fine, and she'd walk over and get a cup of coffee. Natalie also was able to shut off. I think, though, when you do a film where you're in every single shot emoting, and if you're not emoting, you're doing something physical, and if you're doing something physical, you actually are emoting. she was pretty exhausted. I mean, she really, really, worked hard to
It's
get
like
there.
a decathlon. Are you kidding?
Absolutely.
And that dancing, and I don't think she was a dancer. I mean, she was busy acting, so
Yeah,
she
no,
didn't
no.
have that kind of ballet.
She did about 10 months of training.
Right.
And then the last 6 months before we started to go got really intense. And because it was an independent film, it was very hard to raise the money. We had to keep pushing. So she was kind of going crazy because, she was on strict diet and incredible workout. She'd be like, another 3 weeks of this, another 3 weeks before I get started. And it was pretty hard.
Yeah, I guess there's nothing on your craft service table, huh?
Well, there was, but
Some
not for
celery-
Natalie. Natalie
some
had a little
celery
bag
and-
of almonds and celery sticks
Oh, my
and carrots.
God. And now, why do you think a movie like this, you had trouble getting it financed?
Well, it's just a sad state of.
I mean, The Wrestler was nominated.
Yeah.
Mickey was nominated. He got various
I
awards,
thought-
all
yeah.
the way to the top. I mean, why?
Well, I thought after we did a film about with Mickey and about wrestling, and everyone's like, "What the hell are you doing?" And it turned out people responded to it. Now I was doing something in the ballet world, which is kind of there's some sexiness to it, and Natalie Portman, a legitimate movie star, and Vincent Cassel, an international star, and an incredible supporting cast. I thought it'd be a lot easier, but it was actually harder than raising money for Mickey, and it just independent film is in a really tough place. There's a lot of distractions, and people aren't coming out to the movies that much, so it's tough.
Mm-hmm. So what's your plan now with this? How are you guys releasing this?
It comes out December 1st in select cities, and then it will come out in other stuff, I guess. In other cities.
Mm-hmm.
And we got a few more film festivals around the world, and otherwise, I think that's about
Just
it.
writing it out. Now, do you have something else
I've got a
going
few
on
things.
in your head? Did
Yeah.
you like them working in the thriller kind of genre?
I had a great time.
I mean,
It was
it's
fun.
not quite a thriller, but
Yeah,
it is.
I don't know
really.
what it is. It is what it is. It's definitely an experience. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
But you liked it.
Yeah, it was fun.
So it's a clean slate up there?
Right now?
Yeah.
Well, I've got I'm going to shoot a movie next week called Sleep. It's about
Right.
14 hours long, and there's no intermission. It's just going to be out cold on my bed.
That's it, yeah. The other one question I was going to ask you is, in the reality and not reality, the Vincent Cassel was just brilliant.
Yeah.
Playing
Yeah, he's
that
great.
character. Is he actually engaging in a relationship with Lily?
Come on, I'm not going to answer that question.
Okay. Well, we're not even rolling. I'm done because we were talking. But that's the one where I was like, "Is that real? Is it not real? Is it real? Is it not real?" But
Thanks
yeah,
so
no,
much.
that's what I was like looking at it, going, "Oh my God, is it?"
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
was so the way it was shot and her, you couldn't tell. And people said that before to you.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be that way. I want
We're
it to
not
be a little.
supposed to know.
I think I don't know if it matters. I think it works many different
doesn't.
ways. Yeah,
Right.
It's just about her journey.